Well, welcome back to the Dot Compass podcast. I'm your host, Dimitri.
And I'm your host, Patrick.
And today, Patrick let us know this week that in order for his son to graduate, they have to have a 3-day kind of disconnect from the world and to an extent find themselves as they transition into adults. And that's going to be our topic for today. I think it's a great idea. Patrick, I would assume, thinks it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome idea.
So can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Yeah, so Logan graduated 2 years ago, and I want to preface this, like, I don't know if every single student has to do it, but both of my students, or both my kids have done it. So Logan went on a trip to, I'm going to screw this up, but I think it's Minnesota for 2 weeks with a group of people. And for a week and a half, they were together. And then he did 3 days on his own, and he didn't have his phone. So 3 days, no phone. Yeah, none of the kids on the trips, when they do trips, none of the kids get the phones. It's only the teachers as a way to communicate if there's a safety or emergency situation.
Sure.
So Davis has his phone, but Davis has some pretty specific instructions not to use his phone because he is solo. So he went 2 hours south. It's kind of a weird situation. So he had kind of planned on going to Pueblo when we thought he had a game in Pueblo. He ended up not having a game in Pueblo. So his mind was just set on going to Pueblo, which I think was far enough.
So fucking weird, though. Pueblo of all places.
Well, I think it was like far enough. It's not in the mountains. So because you don't know what the weather's going to be. So
Yeah.
I think it was just like a little bit more safe. And there is a lot of cool shit in Pueblo. So I have a buddy from Pueblo who gave me a list of a bunch of places to go, like Bishop's Castle. You know what that is?
I don't.
It's the dude. Yeah, it's the dude who I think he started building this castle, and then he ended up passing away. But it's like this tourist attraction. I've never been, but
that's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's cool. So, anyways, Davis left on Friday. He packed a bunch of food, and he's camping out of a tent. He was going to car camp, but he ended up tent camping. And the only instructions I gave him was that I needed a text every night and every morning to know that he's okay.
Yeah,
that's out of that we haven't talked.
Yeah.
So the other thing he asked both. I think it was just me and his mom, but he might have asked some other people. He asked for some questions, for us to write some questions down. He wasn't going to look at them before he went, and then he's going to answer them while he's out there. You know, he's in nature. I think he's planning on doing some like mild hiking. He's going to a lake. So he's just trying to disconnect a little bit and be him, just be with himself. Nobody else, no phone.
So what do you think the biggest value is for them to kind of do this kind of stuff? Like especially before graduation?
I think it gives you a chance to actually like think about maybe your purpose, what you want to do, what that looks like. That would be like Logan wrote, when Logan graduated, he gave the final speech for the seniors, and he wrote that speech on the trip. I mean, Logan's an amazing writer, and it was awesome. Like it was just well done. And I think it gave him a chance to like no distractions, no, I don't know. Like you're there by yourself and you can just think.
I mean, like, I feel like nowadays, anytime that, your kids disconnect, they're not really disconnecting, especially if they still have their phones and stuff. And then when you talk about finding themselves and at least finding a purpose as you get older, I think it's incredibly difficult to disconnect. It's incredibly difficult to be, and maybe some people have other viewpoints on it, but I'm 34. I have 3 kids and a wife and a job, and she's got a job. It's a very difficult thing as you get older to be able to disconnect from everything and just kind of focus on you for a couple days. It's not a it's something that we kinda take for granted because we think we'll just figure out next week or we'll do that next time. So I think for them to especially for this to be part of, like, a graduation thing, I think is really, really awesome. Gives them time and opportunity to find what the hell they want, or at least get a taste of what it's like to be by themselves.
Yeah, he was supposed to do it last summer, and he was supposed to go to the mountains, and just due to honestly, it's been like volleyball. Due to volleyball, he has not been able to get the time. So he found it on a weekend where we made it work, and he's getting close to the deadline. He graduates in a little over a month, so he he had to get her done.
Did he have anything specifically that he thought he would get, I guess, stronger value out of this?
Um, we didn't talk about that, so I don't want to I don't want to assume anything. He seemed kind of excited. I also think he was like a little nervous. Like his taillight was out on his car and I noticed it. And so I was like, hey, you got to get that fixed before you go. Like you can't be driving all the way to Pueblo and everywhere with the busted taillight. You're going to get pulled over.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think he was a little stressed this week, but I hope that he got down there and it took a lot of stress
That's fair.
off, off of him.
So, as fathers then, since, this is the Dad Comes podcast, we're here to kind of guide fathers that might have similar questions or at least be a voice for them to listen to. What is your personal opinion of the importance of kids doing something along the lines of what your sons did and are doing?
From a child standpoint or just from a human being?
From a father's standpoint, what's the value that you see from this for them and their future and what other kids and parents can take to consider?
I think it's something you can carry on into your adulthood. And I do think that there's a ton of value in disconnecting. I would say a minimum of once a year, but maybe a couple times a year. I think if you're doing 3 days, that should be a couple times, but maybe you do like a 7-day disconnect. I will tell you as a father, I haven't been like worried sick about him. It's this weird thing. Like Logan didn't have his phone, but I knew he was with a group of people until he did his 3 day. But like I was less worried. Anytime the boys have gone on like trips, I really haven't worried. I was a little bit more worried about Davis because Davis is driving. He's by myself or by myself, by
You're by
himself.
yourself now. The truth comes out.
He's by himself. If he does get into a situation where he doesn't have his phone, like I gotta trust him to be able to get out of it. It's a little bit more nerve wracking, and it's this weird thing because Davis is a pretty mature 18-year-old, but like Logan's 20, and essentially once he went to college, I just like we don't talk every single day. It's just this it's like Davis lives in my house, and so therefore I feel like he's my responsibility a little
Yeah.
bit more, and then once they go out on their own, maybe it's just less I don't know. And, like,
Maybe
Logan
grace.
drove to Tempe today or this week, and so I was definitely a little bit nervous because he's in his car driving from Albuquerque to Tempe. So I did text him just to make sure he made it, and we talked briefly yesterday because he's kind of had some issues too. Anyways, is what I was getting at is I do feel a little uncomfortable with him out there, not to the point where I don't think that there's going to be more value than it's worth. I think there's a ton of value in him doing this, and I'm actually excited to hear about it. And it sucks because he goes back to his mom tonight, so I don't really know when I'm gonna get to hear about it unless
What
he calls me, which would be odd.
you said, which would be odd.
Yeah.
Uh, you said something when we were talking about this episode. You were like, I feel like for mothers, it's a lot harder for them to let their children go, and because they just want to almost have a shield over them. And for fathers, for us, it's almost like go out there, make the mistakes, fail, learn how to make a solution. And if you can't find one, then we'll help you. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
for mothers, it's more so like hold them tight, don't let them go, because I think that distance scares mothers a lot more than fathers, where we know the value. For me, the value that I had when my mom said, "Hey, it's time for you to go." I didn't like that. But if that never happened, there's a lot of people that are just kind of loitering around their families and they're soaking up all their resources and not growing into the adults that they should be.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that my ex-wife was super uncomfortable with Logan leaving the state for college, and it was not easy for her at all. She's really close to Logan, but it was hard for her. For Deanne's situation was kind of weird because her oldest is also out of state, but she was here when she started college after she graduated. And then she transitioned out of state. So I think that there was like this separation, but it was still close. And
Yeah.
we were available if she needed anything. And then she moved herself to Florida.
That's a
She's
far
in
away from
Oakland.
Colorado.
What's that?
That's a far away from Colorado.
Yeah, and I think Deanna was uneasy with it, but now she's in Missouri with her mom. So I think that there's this comfort level back for Deanne. She doesn't have to worry about it because her Dea is staying with Deanne's mom.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. She's going to college down there and working and helping out around the house and stuff like that.
Good
So
for her.
so I think it's just I don't know, man. Like for me, I don't like I said, I just don't worry too much about Logan. I'm he knows he can call me if he needs to, if he's in a like he actually called me yesterday because he's having issues with his car.
Yeah.
Um, but outside of that, I'm kind of just trying to let him live his life. And it's the same thing with Davis. Like I'm not calling Davis every 5 minutes, be like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" Because it
Yeah.
completely defeats the purpose of what he's doing.
Well, I think the value, I don't know why this kind of popped in my head as you were talking. I was like, imagine my son, he's 17, he's about to be 18 this year, saying, "Hey, you have 3 days, go figure it out. Um, you're not allowed to call us, you're not allowed to use your phone unless for emergencies, obviously." I think them having an opportunity to say, or are you as a parent to visually and mentally deal with it. Hey, I have a problem. Oh shit, I can't call dad. I can't call anybody right now. I got to figure this out. I think that's the most invaluable lesson that they're going to learn during that experience, because not your parents aren't always going to be there. There's not always going to be another adult nearby to help you make those difficult decisions. And if you decide that, hey, I have to sleep in my car today, then you have to sleep in your car today. If you decide, cool, I have money, I got to get a hotel, you got to make the hotel, make the reservations, all that good stuff. That's all on you. And not being able to have the scapegoat of calling your parents and saying, hey, bail me out. I think it's like a seriously invaluable lesson for them to learn, especially jumping into adulthood. Because when they do this, I feel like it's giving us a sense of feedback to the way that we raised them. All right, did we raise them enough to make common sense? Or are they going to screw the pooch?
Right. Right. In hindsight, maybe I should have told him not to text me, but
Text you to make sure he's alive. That's fine.
yeah, yeah, that's legitimately all. I've so like last night he said back at the tent. And then I did get a little worried yesterday morning because it was kind of late before he had texted me. Like Davis can sleep and he can sleep in pretty late, but Davis also stays up pretty late. So I think it was around 10 and I hadn't heard from him. So I shot him a text message and he said he was good. So that was it. We didn't talk at all yesterday other than those two text messages.
Oh,
Um, I got an alert that he went to Walmart, but um, that was just a strange. So he's got a budget too. I forgot to tell you that part.
okay. What's his budget?
$200,
For
which
3
is
days?
gas, food, everything, and he drives a vehicle that sucks up some gas. So
Does
it's
it?
it's a majority of it's going to gas. He packed most
Okay.
of his food and took a cooler. So he packed sandwiches and some trail mix and chips and I think he took a couple bananas. So
So, okay, question for you. Why do kids need discomfort, silence, and separation from everything? Young adults, we should say, not like toddlers.
toddlers too. Set him outside for 3 days. Dude, could you imagine if we did that? Like
That'd be
they would
fucking
turn
crazy.
into amazing, amazing people because they probably have to like kill a squirrel to eat.
You know, the movie Young Dinosaur,
Mm-hmm.
that movie makes me cry every time. But I mean, I cry every fucking movie. That's just who I am. But it's this little kid, and I always think to myself, like, how would kids, figure it out? And then I think about it. There's something that kids have that's pretty powerful, and it's seeing the good in people. As adults, we tend to see the bad in others. At least I do. I don't look at other people and say, "Oh my god, I can totally just trust this guy with every single thing I have." As kids, they're like, "Dude, go for it." So
My
I
kids,
think,
kids are pretty resilient.
yeah, I think that'd be a pretty interesting experiment. But definitely uh, control it if you're listening and you're thinking about doing this. This isn't our suggestion. This is all on you. If you want to put your kids in the world, I would really think about that shit because you're probably not going to get them back.
You asked the question and then we got sidetracked. Do you remember what you asked?
I did. So why do kids need discomfort, silence, and separation? What are the values that they're going to receive from having those three things in their life, and especially through this experience because this is what we're specifically talking about.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I think the two biggest values that I see, and maybe it's three, disconnecting from your phone. When you have a phone, I think you tend to not because you're like the phone is. And I know this sounds weird, but I feel like the phone's like doing the thinking for you, right? Like, or
Yeah,
you're watching entertainment, or you're
you're
playing.
disconnecting from the crowd. You're disconnected from the masses 'cause now
Yeah,
you're finding the solution, not looking up for previous ones.
I also think going gives you an opportunity to not rely on anybody else to solve your problems, whatever that is, right? Like you get a flat tire, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm not driving down there to fix a flat tire. And he knows that, right? Like, or, something happens. You got to figure it out, right? Like he gets a ton of weather and all of a sudden he can't sleep in the tent. Like, what does
Yeah.
he do? He's, he might have money left. He might be able to go get a hotel, but otherwise maybe he's got to sleep in the car.
Yeah.
Um, And then I don't remember. The third one is I think it gives you an opportunity to really think about life. Like, what have you accomplished at this point? What are your plans for the future? What kind of person do you want to be? It's just, I think it gives them an opportunity to really think through that stuff. And I think that as a human being, we need that stuff like more often than we do it.
Well, yeah, you don't you don't really know who you are if you're constantly looking at notifications, if you're constantly looking to see what everyone else is doing, because like an episode we had before, it kind of turns into you're keeping up with the Joneses, but in a different level. And as kids, I think as kids, the biggest thing is try to maintain your group and try to have similar things that you guys all do. Disconnected from and separating yourself from life to an extent. Now it's now it's you. What do you want to do? What would you do out there with your friends in the wild? Well, I don't know. You guys probably just joke around and do this. Well, what would you do? You're probably going to go around and actually think a lot more than you're going to be staring at a screen and having conversations with other people. You're having a conversation within yourself. Like being by yourself for 3 days, 100% and not having a phone to screw around on that, like, I think that's more powerful than most boot camps, dude. If I'm being honest, phones dictate our kids' lives so much now. Hell, they dictate our lives. Anytime you get a second, what's the first thing we do? We reach for our phone. We don't even need anything on there. I check my email like 3,000 times for what? Like, there's no fucking point.
Yeah. I will say this, out of all my kids, Davis is on his phone the least. Davis is honestly home the least, which means which goes back to your other comment. He's usually with his friends. So now he's not with his friends. He's either with his friends or his girlfriend. But now he's by himself. So the fuck are you doing? Good.
Dog.
Yeah. And she's kind of interesting. And she doesn't speak English. She speaks Spanish.
Well, dogs speak dog.
Mm. That's fair. All of her commands are in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
I don't speak Spanish, so I can't tell her to fucking stop because she's not gonna. Oh, I know stop is alto, so maybe I just say that.
Alto.
Anyways, I was gonna bring this up to, like, I don't know, probably from my late 20s to late 30s. Every year, me and like anywhere from 4 to 8 of my friends would go to the mountains for a 3-day weekend. And we didn't have phone service.
Yeah.
So we would pack a bunch of food, take a bunch of beer. Some people would take.
Necessity.
What's up?
So that's a necessity.
Yeah, yeah. We'd take guns and fishing poles. And my cousin had some property up outside of Fairplay, and we would go up there and there was a trailer on site, but the trailer couldn't hold everybody. So some people would tent camp and some people would stay in the trailer. I loved it, man. I loved it because it there was no technology. There's no music. All you hear is nature and obviously your friends. But then it gave you an opportunity to connect with your friends without any distractions, right? Like I didn't think about work. I didn't think about anything other than connecting with them. And I know that's a little bit different than the solo, but I personally think just not having your phone for 3 days is like super powerful.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even charge my phone, right? Like I was an hour away from service.
Yeah, so if you don't have service, you're good. So me and my friends, we went up to this was like 11 years ago. Long ass time. We went up. Is that the dog?
It sure is.
Do you speak Spanish?
I think she's good. I don't know what the fuck she's doing.
Well, so we went up to the mountains and we went up to this. It was supposed to be this camping area, We took our friend's Chevy Malibu. Okay, first off, no, not meant to going down fucking dirt hills and shit. And there was trenches in the ground that were at probably a foot and a half. So you had to make sure the wheels were not in those trenches or you're stuck. Uh, well, anyway, so we went out there and we drive down into like the boonies and it starts raining. So I don't know if you remember in Colorado, it was like, I think it was probably 11, 12 maybe years ago, but there was like a massive, massive like rainstorm and everything got flooded.
Hmm.
Well, we were up in the mountains and in the morning it started rain. It's raining. We're like, it's coming down a bit. And then after like an hour, the roads were turned to mud. There was a, and again, there's no phone service. When you go to mountains in Colorado, you're probably not going to have service unless like you're by major roads or something. Well, anyway, there was no calling anybody for help. And it was four of us. Nobody knew what to do. The person that was driving was this young kid, Brandon. He was not a very good driver. So I kicked him out of his own car and drove us out of there. But there was a like this the sense of like maturity that you get when you start having to make decisions that the area that we were in, if we weren't out of there, that whole entire area flooded out. Like there was a fucking mudslide and everything. I think as kids, in order to transition into adulthood, you need to have some adversity coming your way. Whether it's you pushing yourself in that situation into difficult places, or even if you don't know that they're going to happen, something has to happen to get you out of the mindset of, I'm going to call somebody and they're going to help me.
Right.
I just think that the value to push kids towards independence is kind of overlooked. In other countries, families live together, they stay together. I help you, you help me. And as we get older, it flips around. But in the United States, it's very much so you're this age, get the fuck out, figure. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing when people just want to stay within that comfort of family and kind of eat off of what they have. There's a certain point where you're going to have to start your own family. There's a certain point where you're going to get in a bad situation and you have to figure it out. You have to have the moments where you do it by yourself in order to understand how you're going to react when you do it together with others.
Well, and I'll say this about Logan, like I don't hear from Logan very much with problems. Occasionally he'll hit me up, but for the most part, like he's figuring it out. And you hope that you give your kids enough tools, and I don't even know if tools the right word, but
We don't want our kids to be retarded. I know that word is not okay in today's vocabulary, but like as a parent, we don't want our kids to be fucking retarded. We don't want our kids to go running in the middle of the street because they just feel like they can do it. You can do it, but then you're going to die. You can try to fly off a building, but then you're going to die. You can swim across the ocean, but you're going to die. You can do whatever you want. But as a kid, you don't see the consequences of that. You just think, oh, yeah, dude, I can totally do that. Jump off a 3-story building? Easy. All right. And then you die.
I don't think you'd die if it's 3 stories, but you'd be pretty fucked up.
I mean, tell you what, if you're fucking going head first, you're probably going to die.
If you're going head first, you're probably gonna die.
Dude, we had that guy on when I was out and we were doing the federal stuff. He was on a 3rd-story building, lit his apartment on fire, and jumped off of the balcony while he's on fire. And all you heard was,
Drugs are the best.
dude, crazy. He was on some, I don't know. That dude, I can't imagine that shit.
But to your point, yes, you don't want your kids jumping off of buildings. You just want them to make good decisions and be good human
Yeah,
beings.
common
And I
sense.
think so far I'm like 1.5 for 1.5. Davis isn't quite there yet, but I'm confident that I mean he graduates in a month. I
Yeah.
think he'll be moved out of here within like 4 or 5 months, but I'm
Wow.
confident he's gonna be just fine.
Figure it out.
He's gonna fuck some shit up.
That's good. You have to. That's how you develop common sense. That's how you
100%.
develop problem solving skills is by making mistakes.
Yep. Well, and even with Daya, like Daya's made some mistakes, but she's, she turns 21 in a couple weeks, but she's really starting to figure life out. And with her only being, I mean, she's only 21. I don't know if I have yet to figure out life sometimes, but she's working her ass off and she's going to college to be a mechanic,
Yeah.
which is, you know, not a field that you see a ton of women in. And she's just doing it. So, um, yeah, I think and I'm obviously not taking credit for Daya. I didn't really know her until she was about 6. All of that was Deanne and whoever else impacted her life, but it was pretty much just Deanne. But yeah, I'm confident Davis is going to be just fine. I'm excited to hear about the trip, and as an adult, I think that we need to disconnect. And I know it's hard because, especially if you're married and having other kids, it's hard to disconnect from your family. But I think it's a good time to think, and I think it'll probably make you a better person when you come back, because you can reflect on the shit you didn't do very good in the last year that you want to get better at and have a plan to get better at it.
So you said, in your opinion, I think we should do this a couple times a year. So there's obviously other ways to do this, and especially ways that we as parents can be involved in those. You know, taking your kids and go camping for a couple days. There's no phones. Yes, you're there, but it's on both of you to make those decisions. And I think that takes the kids away from the same exact things they do every single day. TV, play outside. No, there's just being out in the world and enjoying it with your parents. I think there's a lot of value. I think it's difficult now. I think it's difficult now to deal with like common sense and have that expectation as a parent as our kids get older. I talked to my son about this the other day when we were driving home from the gym. Uh, I said, "You're going to move out and you're going to make mistakes." I said, "And through those mistakes, you're going to develop common sense because common sense is just learning how to deal with the problems that come your way. And you won't learn it until you have to deal with the problems. You don't learn a lot of things until you're actually put into them to be forced to adapt to it."
It's also learning not to get in those same situations again
Well, yeah, exactly. But
or
it's not,
seeing good. Sorry.
I would say but it's not common for them. It's not common for them to not be dumb. They're kids. They want to touch everything. They want to play with everything. They want to take in all the experiences. And you can do that. But as an adult, the difference is you have a better understanding of what you need to do to not put yourself in a poor situation while enjoying what you want to do.
Well, and that's the thing that I think for me was a little bit of a struggle sometimes with my kids is that I've tried to give them common sense on certain things, right? Like, this is the stuff that I failed at. This is the repercussions that I had to deal with. I don't want you to deal with this shit, so don't fucking do what I did. And ultimately, I don't think it matters.
Well, I
Like,
was
they
going to say,
figure it out on their own.
yeah, because as kids, oh, dad said I can't do this because he did this, this, and that. Great. Now I know what not to do and do the same thing.
Right.
And I think that's the point of what we say is one thing, and then there's things that they actually go out and experience, and you're only gonna gain that knowledge through your own personal experience.
Yeah.
Because I think that common sense is very different to each individual. We value different things.
Well, and I think Logan has way more book smarts and less common sense than Davis. Davis has more common sense and less book
Yeah,
smarts. They're both intelligent. It's just like,
different ways.
yeah, yeah. But Logan is definitely starting to get that more of that common sense aspect. So yeah, I don't know, man. I've raised two pretty good kids so far. So
I mean,
I'm
you don't have to drop your kids in the wilderness for them to grow,
for
but
sure.
you also can't protect them from the things that are gonna hurt them. I think that's the value. Now their confidence isn't gonna grow because we tell them that they're a good boy. Their confidence isn't gonna grow because they got a good grade on a test. Their confidence is gonna grow when they do something independently and succeed at it.
Right. All right, dude. What are we doing? Unscripted or the
Let's
question?
do Unscripted. I have a good one.
Okay. Go for it.
So, if you have a daughter now, my daughter is about to be 10. There is a whole lot of attitude and sass that comes at this age. And me and her butt heads like no tomorrow. Conversation started, I forget what it was about, and it was just attitude and attitude and attitude and attitude. And I'm like, I'm working. I'm like trying to get stuff done and trying to also facilitate so there isn't like another world war between my two children because that's just what happens. And she's just going back and she's like poking at me, poking at me. I'm like a bear, dude. Like eventually you poke, I'm gonna roar. And she says something. I was like, all right, I guess it's time for us to pack you up and I'll send you off to a new family. And it was such a shitty thing for me to say because her comeback was, well, you've already been through this. You've already been through that. You would never do that to me. And I walked over and I was like, yeah, I would never ever do that to you. But I'm so freaking irritated by you constantly going back and forth about shit. I was like, I would never send you to another family. I took my phone and I fucking threw it at the ground, which I don't do. Like, I don't. Uh, I told my wife I was so fucking angry at myself for what I said that like my phone was a recipient of that and it shattered.
It did.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll show you. This is the back of my phone.
Jesus.
Yeah. It felt pretty hard. Lesson learned. And I told all my kids, because my daughter said she's sorry. I said, you have nothing to be sorry about. I was like, we got frustrated. And we as parents, we say shit sometimes that we don't mean. And I said, Ellie, I think your superpower is calling us on that shit and like being very, very like blunt because she's just like me. Like she's very like, well, you're just being an asshole. She'll never say that, but the
She'll say it. She just won't say the cuss word.
she'll say it in a she's very like intuitive to like what's going on. And sometimes it's like really frustrating, but she'll just call us all out on everything. And that's what I was like, you have no reason to apologize. I was like, I said something I shouldn't have, and I was really frustrated that I said it, and I took it out on my phone, and I was like, here's a lesson. Don't ever say shit that you can't, take back, or that's gonna make you frustrated after you say it, and then take it out on other things.
Right.
I was like, you have nothing to apologize about. I was like, I lost my cool. I threw my phone, and now my phone is broken. That was my father unscripted. Don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. I'd say mine is just Easter. Had a really good Easter. Kids did a lot of playing outside. They did a lot of playing together, which I love seeing it, especially with my younger two kids and August all playing together. Jackson helped me cook some of the food. Deanne did some of it. My mom did some, and I did some. So it was a good day. It was very chill. It was beautiful out. And everybody was here. Davis was here. Raina was here. The younger kids. So it was a good day. So that's it.
You ever play find the eggs in the bedroom with your wife?
I have not.
So you dye your balls,
Okay.
and then they have to find them.
You're so stupid. What color did you dye him?
Pink,
You're so dumb.
little stars all over them. No, my wife would not find that funny. She just call me retarded. I feel like her sense of humor has like seriously like went down. Like she does not find my jokes funny. My daughter's friend doesn't find my jokes funny. I was like, dude, you guys like maybe I'm just not funny.
You have a dark sense of humor, and it is not for everyone,
It's not
but it is for
many.
men. A lot of men would find it funny.
They do find it funny.
Yeah.
Women? No.
Not so much. No.
No. Nope.
All right. Are you ready for the question?
I'm ready for the question.
All right. So this is going to be kind of a two-part question. You watched the new season of Fear Factor, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. What is something you would absolutely not do on Fear Factor? Like, what was something that would get you to quit?
Oh man. Ego talking and then not ego talking.
Okay.
So like my ego would say there's money on the line. I would try it all. Like I think even with that fear, I would self try. Though not no ego talking, when they're walking on the platform out and they're blindfolded,
Blindfolded.
that shit scared me. Also, like this the grabbing the snakes and stuff. Like that one chick that had to get bit by the snakes. Like, dude, you were like after the first one, I'm sure it's not that bad. But like the idea of that's what you're doing, like there's some stuff that wasn't that intimidating. Being electrocuted,
I kind of thought so too, but man, they seemed like they were getting fucked up.
dude, the piercing,
That didn't seem like that bad either, but he was fucking crying.
dude, they were taking like chunks of skin. This is like meaty.
I know, but like I've had piercings and tattoos and stuff, and like there's a pain there, but it's not.
Yeah, bro. Would you have pierced your ears?
I've had my tongue pierced.
Why? You did?
Yeah, it was years ago. Like I
That's
was,
cool, dude. I got the fucking gay snake bites.
oh, you got those too?
I did it. I did it in a Wawa bathroom.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
um, yeah, for me, the food one,
Oh, that was
I don't know if I could do specifically the one where you drink, except for that one might be a little bit easier because I might be able to just hold my breath and chug it.
who's your favorite person? Who did you want to win?
I kind of wanted Chelsea to win just because she was a single mother of two kids, but I liked Ethan and I also liked Dita.
I like Dita. In the beginning, I wanted Zach to win. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah. There was this part of me that was slowly rooting for him too.
Everyone was fucking hated this dude, and I'm like, no. I was like, this guy's got to pull it through. And then when he chugged that shit, I was like, dude, you just played the shit out of everyone.
I didn't really mean for this to be a conversation about Fear Factor, but I will say that I don't like how a lot of the people played the game.
Yeah.
I would have put in Ethan and Dita when they when they did the spinny upside down thing,
Yeah.
how to put them both in.
But dude, the knockout stuff is like they were putting in the people that they didn't like instead of the people that were gonna be their biggest competition.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
That made no sense to me.
I'm with you. You can still be a good human being and put good competitors in.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a fucking asshole like Zach was, but
Yeah, the 2 that were dating was so dumb,
yeah, it was weird.
or I didn't like that dude.
All right. I I fucking hate snakes and I hate rats. So that second to last challenge when you're upside down,
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I could have done that one. Like
Yeah.
I would have struggled.
Well, dude, just grabbing handfuls, you can't even see what the hell you're grabbing, and they shoving them into your face?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, they
Um,
got balls, man.
we watched the very first one with Joe Rogan,
Yeah.
and this second challenge in the first one, you have to lay in like a coffin and they dump 400 rats on top of you and they're like eating at you and shit. It's fucking crazy. You have to sit there for 4 minutes.
Dude, the Fear Factor originally was wild. They toned it down.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll watch it anymore, but we had finished it pretty early on Friday night. So I was like, let's watch the original just to see. So
Yeah.
it's good to watch. All right. What's your legit, like, the show not included? What's your biggest fear?
Mm. Anything that's smaller than me and has more legs than I do.
Oh, so you're not big on insects.
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Uh, yeah, I'm not real big on spiders. I don't insects don't bother me, but I would say my biggest fear. Um, what are you doing, you fucking weirdo? Are
Masculine transvestites.
no, probably like let letting my kids down.
That's fair. Well, I thought we were talking about animals, dude.
No, no, no. I
You
said
just
not.
hit it from a different part.
Yeah, no. I was trying to move away from the show. So I said at the beginning it was a two-part question because I was curious what your thought was. Like, what wouldn't you do on Fear Factor? But what's your real biggest fear?
Not living up to be the father that I know I can be.
That's a good one too.
Love you. Have a good day. I'll see you later. Just going on a hot date.
Nice to work.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, that being said, I want to say thank you for coming to watch another episode. I know we were a bit late. I hope you guys found some value. You know, the gist of the episode is I think schools should require a 3-day send off and a bit of independence before you graduate in order to have kids realize the importance of independence. Did you hear that?
Did you say independence twice?
I don't know. I farted though.
I didn't hear that. I thought you said independence twice.
I might have.
Like, follow, subscribe.
And we'll
Compass
see you
on.
guys. Compass on. Compass on. I can't, every time I say it, dude, it just sounds so wrong.
It does sound like you say come piss on
Yeah, compass on us. We'll see you next week or two.
next week.